comforting here. All right, so this way we have that. All right, welcome. We have with us today Moreno Aguiari. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Yeah, that's perfect, Gary. Well done.
And you are with the CAF. It's the Air Base Georgia Squadron, correct?
Yes, correct. I'm a volunteer for the CAF, being a volunteer for more than 10 years with the CAF, and I worked for the CAF years ago, so definitely involved with the CAF and as well as Warbird Digest.
Magazine and Warbird News, correct?
Yes. So Warbird News is our news outlet. Warbird Digest is our magazine. They're part of the same company. One covers news in the Warbird community, very much a digital media outlet, and Warbird Digest is just a beautiful, glossy magazine that we are very proud of.
Yeah, it's very well done. By the way, the CAF Air Base Georgia, which I just mentioned, is formerly known as Dixie Wing. So for those people, it's like, well, whatever happened? It's the same wing. They just changed the name.
Correct.
Just so this way nobody gets their, underpants in a bunch or something.
Yep.
Nonetheless, okay. So I just invited Mo on here because of, he's been very helpful to us and vocal about what we do, as well as others as well too. I mean, and that's part of your, I guess, job scenario is to anything that has to do with within the Warbird community.
Sure.
You alert everybody and tell the public and those that are interested in what we do as a whole, the latest, greatest, and what's going on in the restoration community as well too. So, and I have that magazine, and it is a very nice, glossy, coffee table book kind of. It's not like the cheap paper magazines you just see out there. It's got, I believe, you have a spine on the back too. So
Correct.
It's got the heavier paper and the great photography from contributors, all from the best photographers, aviation photographers that are out there. So I commend your staff and the people that work with you. And feel free to give a plug to everybody that's on that. So and where we could find that magazine as well as online. What is the what's the address?
Absolutely. Let me start with the magazine, since it's the last subject you touched. I'm going to turn off my phone. I forgot to do it. Credit goes to my partner Tim Savage, who really had the vision of creating a magazine that was different from all the others. I think you nailed it when you say it's very much a coffee table type of magazine, something you will keep on your coffee table at home or whatever else. And that was the goal, to really create a classy magazine with in-depth articles. Our articles are anywhere between 4,000 and up to 10,000 words, which makes it a 10 to 15 pages long article. So we really try to go in the details of each restoration. Lately, we have expanded into stories that are not necessarily about restorations or flying aircraft. We have featured personalities and icons of the Warbird community. So I appreciate that you see that, and that's kind of the feedback we get. Everyone loves the magazine and the style. So credit to Tim for having this vision of creating this great magazine, and credit to all our contributors. Richard Allnut, Stephen Chapis, Greg Moorhead, James Church are kind of like the core team of guys behind the articles, and we have contributors from really all over the world, which is great. I handle the advertising and business development, and I kind of like to stick my nose occasionally in some of the editorial stuff, mainly because of what I do on social media and with Warbird News. People come to me and say, hey, look, I have this idea for an article, and I usually kind of pass the ball to the team. We recently added a managing editor from the UK, Alan Burney, who is a very experienced guy in the Warbird publishing and aviation magazine publishing. And after a difficult period with COVID, due to COVID, where we were not able to produce the standard 6 issues a year. We are back on track. Issue 91 was mailed over a month ago. Issue 91 is almost ready to be mailed, and we are ready to wrap up issue 92, which means that we are back into our regular 6 issues a year schedule, which we couldn't do in 2020. So we have a lot of new ideas, one of which involves you. We have a section of the magazine where we are going to feature some of the unique businesses and manufacturers of unique items, targeting the WordBird community. And you spoke to John Terrell, one of our guys, and hopefully in issue 92, if we can make it in time, we'll have a little, I guess, blurb about you and what you did and what you're still doing.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it very much. I mean, we could always use the publicity. Everybody,
Sure.
even bad publicity is good publicity as long as you're on the radar.
I feel the same. And you mentioned WordBirds News. WordBirds News, it's really much our digital media outlet. Being a website, the publishing cycle, it's completely different. You can publish something on the fly, doesn't have really to go to a printing process. So it's digital publishing. And we see WordBirds News as a news site, but an opportunity to really do articles that help other organizations raising funds. I come from years of digital marketing and web development. And when I started WordBirds News, I did it for the simple fact that I realized that there was a lack of digital exposure to the masses. And I figured that WordBirds News could provide that to the small shop or the grassroots organization that is restoring an aircraft. And I saw WordBirds News as a vehicle to drive traffic to these people's website and hopefully trigger donations. And I mean, I'm really proud of what we did, because we help organizations raising money. Digital, it's where it's at right now. Magazines are still great. We all love to be on the couch and on a Saturday afternoon maybe and just read your beautiful magazine. But the truth is that everyone is on their phone, their mobile apps, and their mobile devices. And I think WordBirds News served that purpose. So between the magazine and the website, I think we have great platform which helps the community.
Well, plus there's social media too, right? You're on Facebook, obviously.
Yeah.
WordBird News and WordBird Digest also. I mean, if people just want to get an idea of what it's all about, I think maybe that would be the easiest way to take a peek and just go through,
That's right.
timeline and photos.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, our Facebook page, WordBird Digest. We are on Instagram as WordBird Digest Magazine. We are on Twitter. We are on YouTube. We are on LinkedIn, and I'm just thinking to expand into other platforms, because the younger generation now is getting into different platforms. Facebook, it's already for old people. Twitter, it's for middle-aged people, and Instagram, for 30 years old or so. Now everyone is on Twitch and all these platforms that are really focused on not focused, but targeted by younger generations. And our goal is to inspire some of these kids to get into vintage aviation, or to get into aviation in general. So we are thinking about ideas of, about reaching those younger generations by expanding our presence on different social networks.
Right. And you guys will be at Oshkosh this year, correct?
Yes, correct. We are not going to be I'll be there. We're not going to have a stand or a booth or anything, but we're all going to be there. I'll be there as media, as part of what we do. I'll be sharing a camper with Matt Jolly of WordBird Radio. Exciting. We're both bringing our kids. So we're very excited to, for the first time in a long time, actually, I'm not working Oshkosh. I'm just being there to enjoy the show. Between the CAF, the D-Day Squadron, and WordBird Digest, I always have something to do. So I look forward to just lay back a little bit and enjoy the show with my kids and Matt.
Oh, that's great. Well, we missed you in 2000. What was it? 19?
19, yeah. Well,
Yeah. Well, you were there. You were there as Flat Mo.
at
And
Flat Mo,
you got around.
That was, I think that was a smart decision, right? You need to keep your wife happy, right? Sometimes, not always, sometimes. And after being on the road for 48 days with the D-Day Squadron, I think I made a smart decision of giving up Oshkosh for just 1 year. Just that year, I'm not gonna do it again. But it was just really a matter of balancing my passion and the family needs. So
No, well, that's your family, and it usually comes first, and everything
That's
else
right.
is secondary. You got to take care of what you got to do. But yeah, and then last year there was really not a whole lot going on, and then this year again it was threatened to like not have it, and they have now all these changes because I went, I was like on the fence with, am I going to go? Obviously there's a short window for vendors. If they have to go in, they got to sign in, go through the whole, bureaucracy of the paperwork and submitting your fee and getting all that in there. And, I was just, looking at all the changes that were being made. They're not having the big opening on Monday, the concert,
Are you gonna be playing?
What's that?
Are you gonna be playing?
No. Well, they're not doing that this year. So they're not going to have, Ford's not doing the big stage. And the vendors, they were going to keep them apart and putting some of them outside. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't know. I mean, I know people are, air shows are coming back and people are going again. But that when, so I decided now I'm going to just pool, my resources and then make a huge showing next year in 22. Because I just thought that, I don't know if the big money, the corporate is going to be there in mass as they usually are, just because of all the restrictions that are going on. Now, the air show folks, I think, is going to be huge, for like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and maybe Sunday. But I think the corporate trade, thing is going to be lighter than normal. I mean, I may be wrong. So that's kind of what's keeping me, from not going. And then, last month I kind of revisited because they were letting things up and restrictions. And I'm like, oh man. So, and I think it's too late to even get back into, because it's a big deal for vendors. We got to load the trailer up. We got to bring product there.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And I think most, the spaces, I don't know what the deal with the spaces. I just kind of written it off this year. So next year we'll just, knock socks off. Yeah, hopefully if something else doesn't, like an asteroid hit us or something, but you never know. Knocking on wood here. But okay, well, you guys have fun. I mean, I'll be watching in some form live and monitoring all the, the tweets, the Facebook posts and whatnot, and chime in whenever I can. But we've got our
maybe we can do the Flat Gary this year.
Oh. That'd be hilarious, wouldn't that? Yeah, I know Matt Jolly would have.
Just give me an idea, Gary.
Yeah. Yeah, you mentioned Matt Jolly. We got to have him on too, because, I don't know I haven't heard much from him lately. And I know he's kind of switched gears from doing a show now to doing air show announcing and partnering up, on occasion with Rob Ryder, who's one of the top guys in the country when it comes to, air show announcing, emceeing and that kind of thing. So I kind of lost touch with him, but
I'll make sure I'll make sure he knows that.
Pass the word. Have him say hello, because he used to come down here all the time in Culpeper, where he used to keep his play when he was up in DC.
Sure. Yeah.
And flew all the time. So we hooked up quite regularly. Then.
And now he's here in Georgia. His wife serves at Warner Robins. So that's is definitely closer to me.
Right. Yeah, she's full bird now, right? She's full bird.
Cool. Correct.
Good for them. Well, and they have mini Matt over there. So I'm sure he's growing up pretty big too. Yeah. He's a good kid.
Time with my kids and his kids, and as far as Oshkosh, we are it's going to be exciting as usual. As far as what we do, we are talking to Sleeping Dog Production and hopefully Warbirds in Review. We are in the past we have hosted the Warbirds in Review live feed on our website, and we're trying to do the same this year. So the whoever cannot go to Oshkosh and wants to watch the Warbirds in Review program, which is one of the best, if not the best program in the warbird community, they'll be able to watch it on warbirdsnews.com. We'll hopefully come up with an announcement soon.
Oh, that'll great. Yeah, I could tune in for that.
Yeah, it's great what Connie and her team does. I think it's just that's what it's all about, you know, honoring the veterans and delivering in a very professional format, because the guys at Sleeping Dogs do a phenomenal job at filming and producing the show, because it is a show. So
yeah, a show within a show in itself.
That's
And
right.
just another feature, I guess, that goes on within Oshkosh. So, and you guys always fill the stands for that, you know, even though when it's hot, and hopefully you guys will have great weather like you did 2 years ago. I know that everything was fine, but usually Oshkosh is always something, you know, and then hence all the mud.
Yep.
You know, the swamp party, the swamp, which you're going to get back into again too, and tell everybody said hello on that.
I sure
We're making something. Well, I could tell everybody. We're doing a whole section that's going to have nose art that will feature something that has to do with swamp party. And I made that. You weren't around 2 years ago, and I talked to the organizers on that, and they said, "Well, that would be great." And I was like, "Yeah," it says, "I think that'll be my donation." So whenever you have, because it's hard to find sometimes, you know, with all the campers
Sure.
and the giant RVs and the buses kind of thing, you know, and it's a big area, you know, and if you have never been there before, it's kind of hard to find. You got to follow the noise and whoever's the loudest kind of thing. So I figured, well, let me make something that's about maybe 3-4 feet wide, something they could take with them and use as signage, you know, and
Sure.
you know, so people know this is a swamp party, rather than invading somebody else who you think it's a swamp party, because there's parties everywhere.
I think it's a great idea. Nice of you doing it, and you know, you always do great work. You know, people like you, Chad Hill, you guys do just phenomenal work, and you're definitely part of our community, and portraying history correctly, which is the most important thing.
Right.
So I always been a fan of your work.
Well, thank you very much. I mean, that, you know, we tried. I mean, somebody's got to keep history alive, at least as accurately as possible. And, you know, when it comes to what I do, as far as the research, I pretty much exhaust as much as I could before I even tackle on and commit to any kind of paint, because, you know, I want to make sure I get it right, you know, because people are going to criticize my work. Everybody's, you know, criticizes. I mean, I do the same thing. I'm my worst critic, because, you know, even when I'm finished with a piece, I want to, you know, there's always that small percentage where you think, you might have missed something, or, you know, because even I don't get everything right 100%. So I try to keep that percentage as small as possible, you know, because there is some room for error, you know, there, and there's no first person account anymore, really.
Sure.
That is accurate even. But you know, again, I try to keep things as historically accurate, and in fact, reversed a couple of things, you know, fallacies that were out there, or myths that, you know, have been perpetuated over the time, and just things get lost, and then people assume, well, this is how it was. And I'm like, no, it's not. So I have to be vocal and put out there. And again, you know, whenever you do that, you get people trying to knock you down because they see everything else. Like if you lie, you know, believe a lie long enough, or you state a lie often enough, people believe it's true, you know?
Yep.
So to try to reverse that is difficult, because then they accuse you of changing history. So you have to do it with evidence, you know? And if I have the evidence and I can prove my point, then I shall do it. And you know, I've done that on several occasions, and I'm proud of being able to, again, revert history to where it's supposed to be.
Sure.
So through nose art, you know, obviously, because that's my whole thing, that, you know, the medium in which I work in. And that's where people gravitate to anyway. And how I got involved in this whole thing, because, you know, as a youngster, you know, you go to air shows and people always take pictures. Where, Mo? by the nose, right? In
Right.
front of the airplane by the nose. They're not typically by the tail or anywhere else. They want to take a picture of whatever artwork that's on the nose, and that's sort of the draw.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's something that I noticed, and I was like, hey, that's how I got involved. It's like, hey, I wonder if they could do a replicate a piece of the plane that is the nose art, and basically, I mean, that's I've talked about that in other episodes here, but that's basically what brought me into this whole thing, and then meeting everybody now involved who is doing all these shows and the restoration. I mean, you find it's a community like yourself, and they're just a bunch of just great people,
I agree.
Uh,
I agree.
and
Well, I
it's
think one of the special things about aviation, I notice I do things in what I call mainstream aviation or corporate aviation. The passion for aviation, it's so powerful that really aggregates people, and it's just great when you have the opportunity to share your passion with more than one person. That's at least what I like. Share the same passion with others, and pass it along also. So
sure.
in the workbook community, it's very much even more than the mainstream aviation, because there is a personal and emotional component when it comes down to World War II and historic aviation. So
Right. Well, Mo, we got to get you down here or up here. If you're ever in the sort of the DC or Central Virginia area, I don't know if there's anything that actually brings you up here other than
no,
being
but
there.
I've been promised you that I was gonna pay a visit one day, and I still haven't done it. I feel bad about it. So we are what I was saying earlier about expanding some of the things we would like to do on social media. We have an ideas of doing a more like almost like a World War TV show we have in mind, with going places and interviewing folks. So that's something that's we have in mind to do. So that definitely would be a good opportunity to go out there and see maybe the guys at the Military Aviation Museum in Virginia Beach, and come see you as well.
Right.
So,
Well, there's the Smithsonian, and then the formerly Udvar Hazy Center. I forget what it's called now. They keep changing.
I think it's still Aguiari, I believe. Yep.
No, it's not. Somebody,
No?
no, they changed it once again. Yeah.
Right.
But
No,
it's
I
still the
missed that.
same place. But yeah, I mean, yeah, that might be good. I mean, that's only an hour away, just over an hour away, that we could possibly hook up and do something. And, like I said, if you're in the
I'll
DC
promise.
area,
I'll promise. I'll swing by.
awesome. Well, listen, I know we can talk and talk and talk, and we'll have to catch up again in person one of these days. But it was great talking to you. And where can we find the CAF? Your the Air Base Georgia and your
Yep.
Warbird News and Warbird
Yep.
Digest. Give me
So-
those addresses again.
CAF has changed the domain to cafairbase.georgia.org. And the magazine is at warbirdsdigest.com. And our news website, it's warbirds with the S, warbirdsnews.com. And on social media, if you search for just Warbird Digest, you'll find all our platforms on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn.
Awesome. Very good. Well, look forward to hooking up again with you. And thanks for coming on the show, Wingnut and
Pleasure, Dave.
Rockhead.
Thanks
And
for
look
having me.
forward to whatever else you have coming on. And if you have anything, just give me a holler. I'll do the same thing. We can, the beauty of the internet and keyboards and whatnot, we can just do things very instantly. So, as well as, phone, I have your number too. So,
Yep.
But again, thanks
Awesome,
again
Gary.
for coming on, and we'll talk to you in the near future. All right.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Gary. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
All right. So, good. All right. So
awesome.
thanks.
I
Thanks for coming on. And
you're still recording, Gary, I believe.
oh, am I? That's all right. I could still. It says stop video. Yeah, there we go.
Ah.
Right. Oh no,
No.
it's recording up here.